Okay, so we have another comic for you that I'm very excited. She is a fellow Paysan. Hello. And she is the variety show producer and creator of Alexa, What the Fuck? Or WTF, really. Yeah, see. So without further ado, I would love to welcome to the stage Alexa Albanese.
Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Well, if you can't tell just looking at me, I am part of a demographic that not too many people are a part of. You know, school teachers back in the day used to try and force you to go in the opposite direction. But as our girl Lady Gaga says, everybody is born this way, and I never chose to be left-handed. Okay, I couldn't really get it knocked out of me with a ruler, Sister Teresa. Did anybody make any New Year's resolutions? Good, because they're stupid. You should hold yourself accountable only when you want to. But I do feel like, especially with political climates that have happened over the years, that it's not just black and white, that you're a good person, a bad person. You have to actively wake up every morning and choose kindness, right? You have to be like, oh, I really have to be a good person. I want to be a good person. And so I try to live by that. And so I was on the train, and I was getting off at South Station, which you know is a nightmare, and I heard something clack behind me. And so I went to go see what it was, and somebody dropped their AirPods. And those are expensive. So I looked at the person directly behind me getting off the train, and I said, hey, excuse me, I think you dropped these. And they said, oh my God, thank you so much. Good deed for the day, all set. Got in the Uber, they were my AirPods. So nobody try to be a better person, okay? It's fine, you know, like, such is life. I didn't need to listen to music. Who needs little precious joys on the MBTA? At least I didn't get chased by a South Station pigeon that day. They gave me a break. I should have known something was up, the fact that the pigeon did not come full force at me. Did you know that in our beautiful Commonwealth, scaring a pigeon is punishable by a $20 fine? Yeah, well, dare I ask, what about all the times a pigeon has frightened me? Because those bastards would owe me a lot of money. I am Italian-American. I love my Nana more than anything, and I have a partner who comes very close second, who is from Italy. So I needed to start saying Italian-American because I do not know the language. I tried learning on Babbel for her, but I feel like Babbel is just condescension veiled as learning. So at least it's the Italian-American way. But I'm a New England girl by heart. I'm originally from Rhode Island. Any Rhode Islanders in the house? Hey, where?
Warwick.
Warwick. Yeah. I almost didn't believe you because you didn't drop the R. But I'm from Cranston. So I added the yeah. And so that's proof. So I went to school in a little town called Johnston, which some of you, I think, know, even if you don't know, you know it, because it's where DJ Pauly D is from the Jersey Shore. So you can tell already that the Italian-Americans from Rhode Island are a little less buongiorno and a little more bada bing, bada boom. So I went to a school that was as small of a reflection as the small state of Rhode Island would be. I went to the same school for 10 years with 27 kids. I didn't know people weren't Italian until I got to high school. And so obviously being queer in Rhode Island back then wasn't really like down in Catholic school. The thing we needed to do is wear uniforms. Anybody else trapped in uniforms for a really long time? Yeah, there's pain behind that. I always wore khakis because I had to. And so the uniform for literally everybody was a polo and khakis, but I would be told that I didn't know how to wear my uniform pants like a girl. We all looked like Jake from State Farm. And it was before he got hot. So I didn't really understand what the comment was. I didn't know the note. I didn't know how to follow that. And so I went to the spring fling with a male date, obviously. And he asked me the day of the dance. So again, I am a lesbian, and it's not a choice, but if it was, that would have done it. And I don't like the word lesbian. It's too many syllables. It's like a condescending amount of syllables. And like, you have to really try to be like, so a lot of people in middle school did. I was still with this male date, and we were dancing. Meanwhile, we were dancing slowly to Give Me Everything by Neo. Which, albeit, is not a slow dancing song, but I was trying to avoid the all-female grind line. Come on, if you wore a uniform, you've seen the all-female grind line. Yeah. And so I figured, best for me to avoid that. Fewer questions. I was wrong. I guess I avoided it too obviously, like when you're trying to crop dust. And so this girl looked me up and down and called me a lesbian. And now listen, I was a very shy and anxious kid back in the day. But my stream of consciousness has always sounded like Chandler Bing. And so I could hear my inner voice screaming, I'm sure you're right, but why? But I don't really identify with the word lesbian. I think that labels are icky, and what I prefer to say is I like women and men who are worth my time. Exactly. So I'm very fortunate that I can get a little bit of Italian street cred now. I just came back from Italy for the first time. We had a blast. And so valet is very close with my family, and so that's a really important thing for me. And I'm really grateful that that's the case. She and my dad get along really great, and my dad sort of just does these eat, pray, love moments where he will go to Italy by himself, and he'll just like go to the cafe and butcher the language and be friendly enough where people don't care and are happy to see him. And so he'll just go eat pasta and love himself, and I love that for him. But now, Valet and I had the week between Christmas and New Year's off, and she speaks the language, so we were like, hey, let's go! And so I didn't realize how weird it was to be going on vacation with my girlfriend and my dad, like the Three Musketeers, until we started going to restaurants together. And I was like, oh my God, they think that Stanley Tucci is treating the hookers from the White Lotus. And I just couldn't get that out of my head the entire trip. It's like, people always try to figure out what your situation is when you're sitting at a dinner table, right? We're all guilty of it. And so, at some point, I feel like I let my intrusive thoughts win. And I did try to convince people that that was Stanley Tucci, because he is bald and he wears glasses and a lot of button-ups, and he just sort of looks at food like this. Very nice. I don't really think we got anything free, but it was fun to yell Stanley and people just be like. So, anybody dating here? Did anybody bring their date tonight? Hey, we got a little tiny thumbs up. Were y'all friends first, or how did you meet? I thought there was a thumbs up. Sorry. I thought that somebody was like, yes, I brought my date here. No. But, all right, well, were you guys friends first? Yeah. Yeah? How long?
Maybe 6 months, a year.
Wow. Laid a good foundation. No, I love that. I do feel like fall in love with your best friend is like a really sweet ideal. I also feel like 9 times out of 10 it sounds like pretty heterosexual advice, because if a guy falls in love with his female best friend and professes his love to her, it was like written in the stars, and it's a really beautiful storybook moment. And if I ever professed love to my female best friend, I'd have ruined the slumber party. Well, I'm very sad in all my lesbianism that the Patriots season is over. Yeah, we're gonna switch to talking about football because you guys don't want to talk about feelings. Macaroni and Cheese Jones screwed us again! Offensive coordinator interviews. I'm torn. I mean, we're in a bookstore, guys. You don't want to talk about football. No, but I feel like it was really hard for me to love the Patriots and not become like a bandwagon Tom Brady follower. I know he's a DB. I know. He's a QB who's a DB. I get it, okay? But my love for him went the longest yard. I used to have a fat head of him on my wall, all right? Like that shit, I mean, it's a very easily peelable off decal, but it lasts forever. And I feel like I have a very wonderful interaction that I'll always remember with Tom Brady, and that I hope to God Tom Brady never remembers about me. So I went to Patriots training camp when I was a kid, and I really wanted to get my football signed, and he would always sign for the kids at the end of camp. So I ran to the rope, and I was 10 years old, and I was just screaming Tom, which really elongates your face. And I had this like powder blue, very girly jersey on with like a menace face, okay? And so I don't even know how he mustered up the courage to look at me, but I was a child. And so all I have is this picture of me screaming, Tom! And Tom Brady just out of the corner of that picture going, why do I have a picture of myself from that moment, you ask? Pre-selfie era? Because it was published by the Providence Journal. And I wouldn't have known that if they didn't do a retrospective of Tom Brady's life and career 2 years ago! Divulged very personal information, which I feel like wasn't okay back then, and like I'm safe now, but it was like, Alexa Albanese, 10 of Johnston. I'm like, why are you telling people where I'm from? Like there are gonna be people who still have access to the newspaper and are sexual predators. Like, it's not hard. That is like the easiest thing for literally anybody to get. So I was like, who gave that interview? My dad was probably just so scared that I was gonna get in trouble that he was like, yeah, no, she's 10, it's fine, like, I don't know. And then like, he had to hold me back in the picture. I'll share it for you if you stay after the show. Well, it's been a pleasure being with y'all tonight. I'm Alexa Albanese.